What's up, everybody? Disco Demonic Hydrophonic. I'm gonna kind of just talk about a bunch of shit. Hopefully, it makes sense to somebody. So today, I'm gonna make a video. All right. So behind me, I have the wheel, the law wheel of Falun Dafa or Falun Gong. Falun Gong is a Qi Gong style of martial art. Of you know what Qi Gong is? You have to look that up. There's a lot of shit going on here. So and this is kind of where my journey has been going. So I'm trying to figure out how to say it all without causing too much. So here we go. Falun Dafa is a form of Qigong, and I actually started. I found out about this because of one of the viewers of my Reiki video said they were interested in Reiki and they had studied Falun Gong. I asked them what it was. I decided to do some research. Then they told me to do some research, which I had already done, but it's kind of interesting. Anything is energy based to me is interesting, so it was interesting to me, and I actually started incorporating one of the first exercise into my daily practice. It's been a few days, about 3 days now, 4 maybe, called Buddha showing 1,000 hands. The reason actually me doing this exercise, a friend of mine on Facebook posted a picture where they're doing a hand gesture very similar to part of the exercise in the Buddha showing 1,000 hands. So I thought that was a spirit. You know, obviously that's a spirit to me showing me this is the correct way to go. I followed this. Sorry, man, I don't know what the fuck's going on. But anyways, so I'm following this thread of knowledge. I've been into that. Will go later. So basically, I got a couple of books on. Oh, that's just Falun Dafa, Falun Gong. Qi Gong, I've been studying Qi Gong for a little while now. And another aspect of Qi Gong, and Qi Gong there is also Nei Gong. Nei Gong and Wei Gong. Wei Gong is the outer, and then Nei Gong is the inner. I'm not really sure how Wei Gong relates to Qi Gong. I'm sure there's a bunch of stuff going on there that I didn't really research because it doesn't really matter to me at this point. If you want to research it, that's totally cool. But as I came across, when I was on Instagram, I came across a video, and I've seen this video before. It's about a guy named Dynamo Jack. And Dynamo Jack is a practitioner of Pai Nei Gong. And so I try to find some literature on him. Anyways, on the videos, he's like lighting fires with his hands and shit like that. Now, I don't know how actually true this is, if it's like a magic trick or not, but because I have actually done some telekinetic kind of work with my Reiki, I found this very interesting. And I thought maybe, well, if this is possible, let me see if I can learn how to do this. So I got a couple of books. These are from his students, not him. He doesn't have any books himself. He's passed. But I'm going to read these and see if I can get it, lead me down the right path, maybe learn some more books. I think I got a couple more books coming. And so I'm going to show you what this is. So I actually have a video on this. And so this is basically just a piece of aluminum shaped like this. And this is a box. It's like a jewelry box. It's like a piece of fucking... It came like this, and then there's like... this is just a needle. I put a piece of tape here because this thing kept on coming, like whenever I put the weight on this right here, it kept on sliding out. So that's basically just a needle. So I put the tape here to keep it from poking through whenever I was trying to work on it. And so you put this, close the box, and then you put this, you balance this motherfucker on here. There's a little, if you could see, a little divot right there. You balance it on there, and then you use Reiki energy to spin it. And like I said, I have a video of that, of me actually working on it. So, and then you spin it with whatever energy. And I've actually learned how to do like negative. I've developed a dark Reiki that I've received from Spirit. And I use that in my left hand, and then I use the light Reiki that I've learned from Reiki, basic, like normal Reiki, like the Usui Reiki, and then practitioners have carried that further. And I use my right hand, and I actually use the negative energy. This is like drawing in and pushing out, which I've actually incorporated. Like you can use with drill. You bring in through your left, and you project through your right. So I was able to spin the wheel a little bit. So like I said, I have a video on that, and on Facebook I have a video as well. But so to go from there, so Qi Gong is now I'm going to actually show you a Qi Gong exercise today, and I'm going to give you a reference. So I'm going to kind of give you an overview, And then I'm going to tell you the name of the exercise is the 4 golden wheels, and you can actually find this on YouTube. I got this from, and I'm going to talk about the validity of like YouTube as far a little bit later, as far as like when you're learning stuff from videos. But I got this from a YouTube video, and it talks about, so basically what you do is, and he explains it rather well. So basically what you do is you breathe up. It's a moving meditation. So when you're making these movements, like when you're doing movements, and this is not Qi Gong, I'm just doing this shit because it looked cool. So when you're doing movements, you're actually imagining or envisioning something happening while you're doing the movements, which makes it a moving meditation. And then whenever you're doing, like say if you're doing something like this, you're actually envisioning something going up, like a light maybe coming up from like your lower dantian, traveling up and falling in your hands, and then you go up like this. Or like in this exercise, basically what you do is you start just like at a resting position, having your hands on your lower dantian, you bring up the energy. Actually, you don't envision any energy at this point. You just bring up your hands, and then you push up like this, right? And so you're holding your hands like this in a circle, and then you envision the energy into your upper dantian. You empower it, and then you expand it into the circle here. Now, again, there is a video on this, so I'm not going to go into too much depth in this exercise. But basically, I'm talking about how, you know, envisioning, and it's like it's a moving meditation. So you're doing something while you're doing it. It's not just being brain dead, like going into autopilot. That is not a moving meditation. A moving meditation is where actually you're meditating and doing something, and then envisioning something happening. So you're envisioning your dantian expanding. So you're actually doing something with your mind, you know, as opposed to just like being like in a dead like meditative state, like you're actually doing something. You know what I'm saying? Hopefully that makes sense. But anyways, you go from there, and then you go to the lower dantian, and then you go to the middle dantian, and then I'll add a link in the description. And then from there, you know, like you do the middle cylinder. And the middle cylinder, you go like this, and there's like a cylinder where you connect all 3, and then you actually cycle the energy in like a torus. For you, Taurus, not Taurus. So what it is, it's like a donut-looking kind of thing that kind of goes around your auric field. It's like an energy field that goes around like the human body. So you can research that a little bit too if you want to, if you don't know what I'm talking about. Or if you do, right on. So from there, I'm going to talk about the validity of like watching and learning things on YouTube, or maybe like Udemy channel, or Vimeo, or whatever the fuck. So I have been a practitioner of the martial arts for since I was a kid, man, and it's always resonated with me. And I've always loved martial arts videos, but something more. It was more about it. I actually learned how to. I took Kaiju Kimbo for several years when I was a kid. Just kind of street fought for a little bit. I wasn't really super active when I was on this, like when I was younger. Like as far as fighting, I wasn't like this fucking like badass Dynamo that fought all the time. That wasn't me. Even though some people probably saw me that way, I wasn't. Until like actually I started becoming more hardcore into drugs and like having to fucking fight whatever. So like in prison and shit like that, I actually learned how to fight. And then when I got out, I started taking Wing Chun. Not because I wanted to learn how to fight, but because I wanted to like get kind of like a meditative sense, like what Qi Gong is actually doing for me now, right? And so, but with all that practice and all like street fighting and all that kind of stuff like that, you know, like actually fighting on the street. So this happened for several years. This is like a big. There's only a few years where I didn't do anything. I was younger, and then I started getting into shit. Then I started fighting more because shit happens, man. You're on the streets, you know. You're not gonna get along with fucking everybody, and this is leading me to. Theory, practice, and in the occult you have theory and practice, and with anything you have theory and practice. But I've taken it a little step further. I don't know if anybody else has ever done this, but I like to call it theory, practice, and then execution. See, now in the martial arts, what theory and practice and execution would be is like I learned this because in the martial arts I learned martial arts for a very long time, and we practiced, we sparred in class. But everybody not had to, but would adhere to the certain practices that we learn. So there was no like outside of the box thinking. You were just trying to remember the moves that you learned in karate. You know what I'm saying? So you were really just practicing. it didn't really become an execution until like one day I got into a fight with somebody. I tried to use karate on them, and they beat me up because karate did like all the rules in class didn't apply into the real life. So I like fucking I got the fucking reality beat into me, and the shit kicked out of me because like oh like you watch all these movies, you're like you watch people like oh if you kick somebody in the knee they drop like a stone. This is not always true. Or if you kick somebody in the nuts they go oh shit they've dropped it. This is not always true. Like just because you kick somebody in the nuts or hit them in the knee doesn't mean they're gonna go down or you're gonna break that shit. It's like there's all these scientific it takes this amount of pressure or whatever. Man, I have tried this shit. It doesn't always fucking work. You know what I'm saying? This is the execution aspect of it because once you do this, there's a commitment point that you do when you do this that you're showing this guy that you mean business, and if you don't know what the fuck you're doing and if you don't actually take the motherfucker down, you're gonna get probably beat the fuck up or something's shitty is gonna happen to you. It's very very likely. So I'm telling you this because I see a lot of videos on like YouTube teaching people how to defend against whatever, or even like when you take martial arts classes they teach you to punch with these two knuckles, you should train with these two knuckles. Well, the target doesn't always stay in the same spot, man. When you're throwing fucking punches or whenever you're throwing punches, shit's kind of happening. You're sweating, you're not thinking about like all your technique and everything. They say you're supposed to practice technique so it becomes second nature. But the other guy's moving around. You can catch him with the pinky sometimes, break your fucking pinky bone and shit like that. I've done it before. You know what I'm saying? I think it's this one. Yeah, it's this one right here. So anyways, there's like shit factors that don't come into like the practice aspect of fighting. And so like that's when you come with execution. So theory, practice, execution basically would be theory is like your sensei or sifu giving a lecture. Practice would be like where you guys repeat the movements over and over and over again, and there's different aspects of practice. That's a pretty wide aspect. Like even in like MMA cage matches, there's still like a degree of practice in there because it's sanctioned. Because like if you get there's a higher likelihood, and it's a better form of practice. There's a higher likelihood that you will get hurt, but and I'm not downgrading martial arts at all. Like I'm into martial arts. I'm not saying that like oh street fighting is better, but no, I'm not saying anything is better than anything else. I'm just saying like the mentality that you should have whenever you go into fighting. So then you have like if you get knocked out, they stop the fight or shit like that. On the streets or in prison, they don't stop the fight. It's up to the winner, whoever the fuck they are, to do whatever the fuck they want after that. The fighting is not the end. The end of the fight, like you get knocked out, is not the end of the fight. Normally, there's a reason why the fight initiated. Either when they want to rob you, they want to fucking rape you, or they want to fucking rape somebody in your family, or if they want to kill you, or take your shit, or take your fucking car. You know what I'm saying? That's the end of the situation. Then they're fucking gone or whatever. So basically, if there is no like life or death threat or anal rape or like your kids getting kidnapped or anything, there is no really fucking fucked up situation. It is still fucking practice to me. Like if I lose the fight, and I'm just knocked out and the fight's over, it's still just practice. You're gonna get fucking knocked out sometimes, man. I've been knocked out I don't know how many fucking times because I was knocked the fuck out. But like I've been beat up several times. You get beat. Everybody gets beat up. Eventually, if you're into this kind of lifestyle, no matter what, you're gonna get beat the fuck up. So with the occult, it would be different. It would be like theory, practice, and execution would be something like theory is you read a lot of shit, and then you practice it. And you practice it because you need to learn what resonates with you. Reading a bunch of shit does not make you an occultist. It's just like you learn a bunch of theories from other people, and then like you're all like you act like you know what you're doing because you studied a bunch of shit, but you don't know what the fuck you're talking about if you haven't actually done anything with it. So same thing with like martial arts and like anything. I think theory, practice, execution could apply to anything. And so with the occult, after that, you start practicing ritual. And however, you develop a ritual structure. And depending upon how many different systems you study, what systems resonate with you, what systems this and this, like whatever. And then whatever system you develop on your own, or like that really, like you really like, if you really like a Golden Dawn system or whatever, if you like Crowley, or you know what I'm saying, or Crowley, however you pronounce it, or if you really like a certain somebody else, that's whatever, if you really like Connolly, or whatever your structure becomes, or if it becomes like an amalgamation of like several different ones, like different aspects you really liked and they really worked for you, and then you incorporate them into one system, and then that system really works for you really well, that's great. Like for me, what really works for me is just connecting to spirit, and I still like to perform a ritual because it's fun to me. Like I've been doing it for so long. It's just like I like going through the motions. I think it's cool. It's like a homey feeling. You know, it makes me feel comfortable, not with the whole thing, because I can actually go into like I can connect to spirit, and then just like start channeling like that if I want to. But I like to go into ritual. I just like doing ritual. It's fucking cool. I think it's fun. And so there's theory, practice, and execution. So an execution would be like after you do all that kind of stuff, after you get all the practice done, then you're kind of just like, you're able to put emotion into the motion. So like whenever you're saying, like if you have a ritual structure to where like you call certain entities to, like you call to the east and you call Lucifer, and you call Renishtasa, Baraka, Biasa, Ekar, Lucifer, and then instead of just saying it, you really put that intent into it. You mean that shit. You know what I'm saying? That would be like the execution of it. And then when you turn to the south, like if you work with Horus, Flaros, or Samael, I like to work with Samael. And then if you say something called towards Samael, I don't use the end attributed to Samael. I don't even use the end attributed to Lucifer anymore when I'm calling. But you put in that emotion like that into it. You know what I'm saying? There has to be intent. There has to be emotion into it. It's showing them that you really mean what the fuck you're doing. It's not just some like la la la. You know, it really means something to you. And then after that, you call to Leviathan, or if you call to the north, if you work with Belial. I've worked with Belial for a while because of my astral link with Lilith. I've been feeling Lilith has been really coming through now for me, as far as in like a northern kind of entity. Like she wants to be in front of me. I face north when I'm working with doing all my rituals, and then east is Lucifer. So anyways, so then I have that. So like I'm really like there's a strong connection. Lilith is awesome. If you haven't worked with Lilith, she's fucking dope. So anyway, I just had to throw that in there. So so yeah, man. So and then like in the middle, like if you want to call like if you work with Satan, if you want to call Satan to the middle, like as the way Connolly expresses, or if you want to just like work with Baphomet. So Baphomet is going to be what Baphomet is the master of the temple. So Baphomet is you. It's like it's an aspect of you. You know what I'm saying? So whenever you call for Baphomet, if you want to call Baphomet in the middle, or the entity you're working with, or whatever your structure is, I'm kind of going too much into all this kind of stuff. But then, so that would be to me the theory, practice, and execution of anything. So whenever you're putting the intent, the real into it, and that's when you start actually getting results, is when you start doing like that. So it takes a long time for that shit. Like I think I mentioned before, it took about a year of just really learning everything, and then after all of that, you can put your intent into it to where like you're not having to remember the ends, you're not having to remember this kind of stuff. You got all that shit memorized, and you can actually say it with feeling, and you're calling forth like Lucifer. I'm calling for you. Like hey man, what's up, so or whatever. Like you're really putting it in there. And so that's whenever things start happening, like things like really start going. So it's going to take a while before you get to that point. But, once you start getting there, man, it's dope as shit. Some people resonate with them faster. For me, it took around a year, maybe a little bit longer. I don't remember. It was around a year. So that's theory, practice, execution. From there, what I have been learning about now is, this is a long-ass video. Well, what I've been learning about is, okay, so in Mopai with Dynamo Jack, where the guy's lighting fires with his hands, it's Pai Nei Gong. Now, Nei Gong is an inner type of practice. I guess it's meditation. I have not really been doing it. Again, I think I showed my books already. So, I haven't been doing it yet. I just got these books. I'm going to start reading them. So, what I found interesting is that on my research online, I do video research before I actually just order books and, kind of just see how it resonates with me. And I'm very, very drawn to this aspect because of my work with Qi Gong and the martial arts. So, and Reiki. Reiki is very, very much, it very much reminds me of another Shinto sorcerer, like the one where I do the mudras. I can't remember the name of it. Anyways, like where, you're doing all this kind of shit and then you do those mudras right here. I made a video about it before. So from there, so there's 72 levels, which, and then there's, I heard another guy, he said that there's 72 chakras. So he's read the books. I haven't read the books again. So 72 chakras in this. So you're going to be working with 72 energy centers, which was very interesting to me because 72 is a pretty powerful number. Like for me, because I worked with the 72 demons of the Goetia, I've worked with the 72 angels of Shemha Meforash, and as when I did a little more studying on like 72, 7 plus 2, in the gematria, there's all kinds of stuff that can have, you know, like you're gonna learn more. So 7 plus 2 equals 9. So in 9 is Tet. So Tet is, the word Tet is a coiling or serpent, which really resonates with me. I think my spirit animal, I don't know if I've shown a picture of that. I have it kind of tucked somewhere, so I can't really show you right now. But I think I've drawn something of it. There may be a video of it, I don't know. I'll show it probably the next one. I do have another video after this. I'm going to show a meditation that I learned from Lucifer and worked with, went into the astral through a door. It was really fun, cool. So, and I was able to converse with Lilith and Lucifer according to Tila Petrova's suggestion of how I should work with them to a certain extent. So shout out to Tila Petrova. So yeah, more things that the number 9 means, and this is in Hebrew gematria, and this is not even like Cliffothic. This is just like the Sephirah. It's the 9th Sephirah. The proper name form, Father, blah blah blah. To be strong, powerful one. To be hollow, water skin, leather bottle, the hollow belly of conjurers, in which conjuring spirits dwell and speak from out of the earth. A necromancer. To light, to heat, which I found very interesting because to light and to heat is like, you know, I light the in the triple flames of the lighting the black flames. You can also use that in order to light like white light or black light. So I do it like that. So the lighting the flames, I thought that was very interesting. You know, I think I explained that in the black flame meditation that I talked about before. Again, you can do it with the light and dark. And in my next video, I'm going to talk about how to do it with the light, with the meditation that I learned. So, yeah, man, there's all kinds of shit that it talks about, you know, like as far as like fire, stove, blah, blah, blah. There's all kinds of shit. So I'll let you research that on your own. I got that from, I'll add a link in the description as well. So, yeah, man, I'll go back to this. So that was all in conclusion. So the 9th Hebrew gematria is Tet. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, share it with your friends. If you hate it, share it with your enemies. Sorry it went so long. I didn't even know it was going to go this long. But it's a lot of shit that I've been going through lately and learning. So I had a lot to cover. Thanks for watching. Bye.